All right, welcome to Kentico Rocks episode number 23, the podcast all about Kentico EMS, Kentico Cloud, and everything best practice-wise when it comes to Kentico. This is your host, Brian McKeever. I am the author of the Kentico Rocks podcast and Kentico MVP. You probably know that by now, as this is the 23rd episode, or at least I hope you do. Today's episode is going to be all about what's coming up the rest of the year with the Kentico world. And the biggest aspect of that is Kentico Connections 2019. Yes, that's right. We are just a little bit away from Connections season. And I say season because we are talking about multiple events. We have events across the world that luckily, if you're a Kentico enthusiast, a partner, a client, a developer, there's one in your major region. Obviously, we have the one in Brno, where Kentico is based in their headquarters in the Czech Republic. That's the first one coming up here in September 18. We then have the next session of Kentico Connection Denver, which is in October 2nd and 3rd. And as you can see on the screen, of course, if you're watching, the Kentico Connection Melbourne ends up the trifecta, and that's mid-October, October 16th, 17th in Melbourne, Australia. That is something that I look forward to every year. And I thought it would make sense to do this episode around this topic because I get a lot of questions each year about who should go, what should they expect, what's happening at Kentico Connections 2019, and actually all the events. And it's kind of a good topic for me to put some retrospective around. I've been attending the Connections events since probably 2011, maybe even 2011. So that means I've been to like 8 years of it. And it's been pretty awesome to see its growth over the years to go from a smaller event in kind of maybe 1 or 2 places to 3 places in the world, where I think at this point they might have had close to 300 attendees at the one in the U.S. last year, maybe somewhere around there. So, each year they do a great job. They kind of split it out into 2 major tracks. We've got the business side, where you can have marketers, customers, business people, stakeholders, executives kind of go learn about the future of Kentico, where it's going at a high level, the strategy, the vision of the product and the company, and actually the products, because we've got Kentico Cloud in there as well. And maybe even some sales strategies of how to sell it if you're a partner, or maybe how to get more out of it if you're an end customer. That's all the business track, and there's lots of different topics that go into the business track. And then there's the technical track, of course, which is a little bit more my favorite as a technical person. We basically have different aspects of what's latest and greatest technology coming into the Kentico EMS and Kentico Cloud products. This year, I think it's going to be a lot about Kentico 2020. We can talk about that a little bit later in the podcast episode. But we also have a lot of new information with Kentico Cloud that's coming out, and I'm looking forward to it. And I actually can't wait to be there. And of course, I will be there. I will be at the Denver event, as I always am in the U.S. Wish I could make all 3, but that just wasn't going to happen this year for me. But, maybe next year. I will probably be speaking at least once, hopefully, depending on how things shake up with the agenda. But I've got some really good ideas on working with Kentico EMS in the MVC world. That's the hot topic these days with most developers. So maybe I can throw some knowledge of how we do that at BizStream over to the audience, which I think I did done in the last couple of years, but still pretty happy to talk about. So definitely, if you see me there, come say hi, that's for sure. But really, I think that when it comes to the Connections event and the question of should I go, I get that from both marketing people, business people, and technical people. I pretty much am going to say yes if you're using Kentico, if you're a Kentico developer, or your business uses it to manage their site and projects. I can't think of a better way to actually see uses from different people around the country and around the world, actually, of how they use Kentico at this Kentico event. It really is the best Kentico event. There's a couple other ones throughout the year that are smaller, more regionalized, more local, and they have good value, but really the big Connections event, the annual one, is where you see the most value, because you can talk to people that are just like you there. They're one of those roles, technical, business, marketing, customer, and you can see what they're doing with their Kentico sites, how they're improving. A lot of people are pretty open in this community to sharing how to best use Kentico, and that's a big part of it, is the relationships and the networking that you can do during the event. There's a great, social events both nights. I don't know for sure if there's both nights this year yet. They haven't quite finalized the agenda, but there will definitely be at least one. And that is a great setup to talk about, how to best leverage your investment in Kentico and what to do next. But then also, while you're at the sessions, you get to actually see the people from behind the scenes that work and run the product. So they're going to give us feedback on where it's going. We're going to hear about Kentico 2020. They're going to talk about the roadmap. There might be some new things to show. It's a very good way to learn what's going on with Kentico and like where you can take your website. So the answer of should I go, no matter what role you're in, I always think the answer is yes. And I have taken many of our technical people. I've taken many of our customers. I've been there many years. It's just truly a really good event because it's something that there's value in each of the sessions, and they're usually run by really good speakers. So I think Kentico does a great job of speaking. The partners that speak are pretty awesome, and the case studies that you can see are definitely some things to learn from. So I would definitely take a look. Remember, there should be one in your major region, and definitely come check me out in Denver. We'll be there probably the night before. So, and I guess the major theme of the event this year will probably be around advancements in Kentico Cloud, because there's quite a few, and advancements in Kentico EMS, which will be what we've been terming Kentico 2020. So I thought maybe it would make sense to preview a little bit of that, because recently Kentico actually opened up their roadmap of where it's going. And if you're looking at the screen or following along, I'm going to go quickly to the kentico.com/product/roadmap. I've scrolled down to milestone 2. This is the new information that was just released publicly, right? So if you're working with Kentico EMS and you're doing MVC, congratulations, that's the right way to do it. It's what we recommend. But really, with the list of things that are coming out that they're exploring, automatic routing is the first one. And that's kind of a dynamic route engine that is going to be built into the platform a little bit more than it was before. And as I've talked to the product development teams, they know that this is something they've always wanted to enhance and improve in the solution that is Kentico MVC when it comes to the EMS world. And I'm not saying that I have exactly seen the solution yet, but from what's been hinted at to me, for some of the things that feedback that they've asked for and early prototypes, this is something that you're definitely going to be interested in. It should be something that makes it easier for you to handle routing, or at least have a really good starting point without having to do it all from scratch. Because prior to Kentico 2020, routing was all up to the development team. And there was good reasons for that, but that's for another day. So routing is a big part of Kentico 2020. Obviously, they're going to improve search, because search is something that people are always asking about. How do we make it better? They're going to make the content of widgets and other embedded content areas of your MVC sites that use Page Builder to be searchable, which is great because we've been asking for that for a little bit here. And something that's kind of new and even surprised me a little bit is the fact that they're adding in redesigned marketing automation. So I haven't seen this yet at all, but I'm excited to hear anytime that they improve marketing automation, because that's one of the real unique differentiators of the Kentico platform, is that you can do built-in marketing automation flows right along with your CMS and even your e-commerce activities. So that'll be cool. Don't know too much about that yet, but I'm sure we'll see that at the Connections event. And then we're going to have more technical advancements in terms of some more components for reusability, of adding bigger sets of widgets that are more full-featured, that will be in the box, that again you won't have to develop. So more polish on Page Builder and MVC components and widgets. That's always welcome. And then lastly on the roadmap here, you'll see is the .NET standard support. So this is huge. Right now, we really want to get to where we can do .NET Core with all of our solutions, and Kentico is right on the edge of being able to do that. So they've been working on this for a while. I'm excited to see that this is the thing that's in Milestone 2, and I'm sure they'll have some previews at the Connections event when we get to that. So that's Milestone 2, and then obviously Milestone 3 is still open. I'm assuming what will happen is we'll get feedback at the Connections event to the product team. Again, another value of you attending is you can directly speak to the product team about what you want to see in the next version of Kentico, and that'll be something that maybe they consider for Milestone 3. So this roadmap, while it was just announced publicly on the site, it's got a little bit of details, enough to get excited about. I really think that attending the conference will give you maybe a full, clear picture of what all these things are. So definitely, if you're a developer, this is something you should be kind of keeping an eye on and be interested in, because it's actually pretty darn cool. All right. Now, you don't have to take just my word for it. because there's actually Mikhail Kadek has another resource that he's recently been updating and keeping up to date on YouTube, which is little 3, 4, 5 minute video clips of him talking about these new features, talking about what's coming next. And I don't know if everybody's seen this, so I thought I would throw a shout out to it. If you go to YouTube, you search for Mikhail Kadek or Kentico, you're probably going to find his playlist or his video list of kind of what he's calling MK's Ketchup. He's got, a couple of them. Actually, he's got a lot of them. Now that I look at it. Let's see, I'm going to click this. He's up to like number 18, which is impressive. And again, it's just a couple sets of videos. They're 3-4 minutes. They're easy. They're fun to watch. He makes it interesting. And you can actually see what's going to happen. Like one of the other things that they announced about Kentico 2020 is they're removing some of the older modules that were really Portal Engine specific for how they work with the platform. You'll still be able to use all the APIs and be able to create these things, but some of the admin tools that were really tied to like web parts that don't exist anymore in MVC world, they're taking those out. So that's what his latest one is out. It just came out like a couple days ago. And you can listen to the list of what's going out. And actually, Mikhail has asked for, if you have feedback on that, definitely reach out. So again, if you're on the roadmap watch and you don't want to wait till Connections, this is a great way to catch up with what's going on with the product from an EMS standpoint. And of course, we're going to have Kentico Cloud things as well. There will be definitely a list of the newer features. I think we're going to hear a little bit about some of the integrations that Cloud has. And actually, if we go back to the agenda for Kentico Connection Denver and scroll down, you can see some of the items in there are really around doing things with Kentico Cloud that maybe you haven't done before. So they're going to, one of the items here is building a static site with Gatsby.js and Kentico Cloud. I'm sure that'll be a deep dive on the technical side. On the business and marketing side, we're going to have pretty much the world of integrations is what it's titled here. And I'm pretty sure that that's going to speak to Kentico Cloud integrations because they've come a long way with that in the last couple of months, especially from what I've seen back at the MVP Summit, if you heard the last episode of the Kentico Rocks podcast. So, that's a preview of the agenda for events, for Connections event. This isn't finalized yet, so don't hold me to it if you don't see these exact items. But I'm sure more details will come as we get closer and closer. So, and don't forget, actually, at the bottom of the screen, you can definitely buy your tickets. Those are still available. The early bird deadline did just kind of pass, but tickets are up there. So go ahead and try to register for Kentico Connections if you haven't yet. And there's definitely even some room discounts at the hotels that are up there as well. Okay, so that's the main Connection event. Again, the theme is all about Kentico 2020, what's new with Kentico Cloud. There's ways to keep up with that roadmap. But now I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about something that's specific to the U.S., and that is an event that I actually host the day after Kentico Connections, and that's actually the Kentico Partner Summit. So we've been doing the Partner Summit for 7 years now, and what this is it's kind of an unofficial gathering after the main annual Kentico event, and we as Kentico partners get together and talk about what's going on with Kentico. What do we just hear at the conference? What are we seeing at our unique markets? Because again, we're a distributed set of agencies that play in different markets and different spaces and different locales. So it's always cool to see, like, I'm here in Michigan and here's what I'm seeing in my client base, but I might talk to someone in Denver, or I might talk to someone in Florida, or the East Coast in New Hampshire or something like that. So just to see what they're seeing with their clients, because there's so much business out there from a Kentico agency perspective. We get together, we share best practices. Again, it's a good networking event. It's going to be 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. right at the same location. So same hotel. I think it's the Grand Hyatt for Kentico Connections. That will be for the Kentico Partner Summit. If you are a Kentico partner, please join us. It is open. It is free. As long as you're a partner, you can show up. We ask that only partners show up and only kind of the business aspect of the partnership show up. So if you're the owner, CEO, VP level, that's what we like. This is not really a technical event. We're not going to talk anything about code or development technologies. It's more business focused about what's going on with your agency. And the theme of the Kentico Partner Summit this year is actually kind of transformation. We're also breaking that into two different parts: business transformation and technology transformation. The business side, we actually have a special guest speaker and I'm just going to tease it. I'm not actually going to say who it is yet because it's someone you all know in the Kentico community and you respect him very well. I think he's going to come in. He's going to tell us about some real world examples of where he's had to help businesses transform from the old portal world to MVC, to latest technologies, and go through like the business reasons why, not the technical reasons, but just the business reasons. And the point of the speaker is that sometimes business executives, they don't see the value of switching to different technologies. And we as maybe developers and technical people understand it almost easily, like a no-brainer. But I can get, like business people, they might not get it right away. Like, well, wait a minute, why are we moving? Why do we have to do this? Why should we do this? What's the risk if we don't do this? So the speaker's going to go through that and go through some scenarios and examples of, what to expect or what maybe you can use when you talk to your client base and things like that. So I'm excited to see that because it's always really great to have insights from people that have been doing this for years and years and years. And then we are going to have a little bit of a Kentico town hall where Kentico themselves are going to attend. And they're going to talk about, what's going on in the Kentico world, what they see as the vendor. So we'll get some great insight into that. But in reality, it's more time for us to network together with not necessarily everyone at the main event. It's a smaller group. We usually get about 40 or 50 people, and we represent probably close to 30, 40 different companies. So it's really cool. Hope you guys can make it. We try to make it fun, and you'll be out of there by 2, 3 p.m. to make your flight home. I promise that, because I need to get home that night as well, because my daughter has a cross-country meet, and my wife would just really not be happy with me if I don't make that, right? So please make it. The event link I'm actually showing on the screen if you're watching along. It's at Eventbrite. I will put it on my blog post after this. I've actually put it on social media already, so if you want to follow me at McBeeve on Twitter.com, you'll see that. Rob Bean and I host this. Rob has done a really awesome job of kind of setting up the event stuff, and he might kick us off. And I would say this, if you want to participate more and more in the Partner Summit, just let me know as well, because there's lots of opportunities there from an organizational standpoint in running the group. But we've been doing this group for many years, and I've got a lot of value out of it, so I think you will too. Again, as a business person, that's our main goal here. So that's what I thought I would do the podcast episode on today. I think, again, this is the time of year to start planning. We are almost into September, or right in September. The events are in October or at the end of it. I can't recommend them more. It truly is one of the better events on the Kentico calendar. So definitely check it out. If you can make it the day after, again, it'll be October 4th. Come to the Kentico Partner Summit. And hopefully, after you hit these two things, the main event and the Partner Summit, you'll have a better idea on what's going on with Kentico, what's happening with Kentico 2020 and the MVC push from a business and technical standpoint, what's going on with Kentico Cloud, where are some new integrations, capabilities, and features of Kentico Cloud, and there might be even some bigger pieces of news dropped. You never know. I would totally encourage it, though, if you're using Kentico in your organization in any way, shape, or form, or considering using Kentico in your organization. So, other than that, don't forget, it's also one heck of a party. At the end of the night, when these things get done, we tend to have a lot of fun with the social events that are planned. There's always some good benefit in that. So, with that, I think I'll cut this episode a little short. Please attend the events, and maybe we can have a beer together. All right? Thank you.